the stance that I've taken, the stance that 90% of Americans, and I would imagine 99% of elite level athletes have, that men should not be in women's sports. It's harmful to women to allow such.
People have been speculating, is Brittney Griner actually a female or a male? Now, Brittney Griner actually does play in the WNBA, which is a women's basketball association, right?
I think there's probably one other job that you're about to get into that is really hard and really scary. You're about to be a mom. How is that feeling? Pops. Oh, let me get it together.
Pops.
About to be a pops.
You know, not everybody has that smooth coming out, but you know, once you do it, it's like a light came on me, on the inside, around me, everything. I felt like I was Brittney Griner.
Y'all, Riley Gaines is back stirring the pot, but this time, it's not just about trans athletes in general. She's coming directly for the WNBA, claiming they forced players to stay silent about Brittney Griner's real gender. According to Riley, league officials told players point blank, don't speak on Brittney, don't ask questions, don't make it a thing. And ever since she went public with it, she's been blacklisted like she exposed a national secret. Like creepy silence. Like, somebody's definitely hiding something silence. And now people are asking, what the hell is going on with Brittney Griner? Because Riley's been on this crusade since Lia Thomas, but this one feels different. And if what Riley's claiming is even half right, then the whole WNBA is cooked. Let's dive right in. So how did we even get here? Well, it all goes back to Riley Gaines, the same girl who's made it her full-time job to call out what she sees as lies in women's sports. Ever since that whole tie with Lia Thomas at the NCAA swim finals, Riley's been on 10. She didn't just throw shade, she turned the whole thing into a crusade. Like Riley clocked in and said, I'm taking down the system. And the wild part? She wasn't even just talking about fairness. She made it sound like somebody's safety was on the line. Now real quick, here's a clip where Riley says exactly that. It's short, but it kind of shows what energy she's been on this whole time.
The stance that I've taken, the stance that 90% of Americans, and I would imagine 99% of elite level athletes have, that men should not be in women's sports. It's harmful to women to allow such.
So yeah, she's basically saying, it's not just about who's faster or stronger, it's about real women getting hurt out here. And whether you rock with her or not, that's a serious accusation. Because now, she's dragging Brittney Griner into it and accusing the WNBA of pulling some next-level cover-up, forcing players to keep Brittney's real gender a secret. Which brings us back to the real question everyone's been asking since this all started. Why is the WNBA going so hard to protect Brittney Griner? Because if Riley's even half right about what she heard, and the league is really trying to cover it up, then something way deeper is going on here. First off, the scandal would wreck them. If it ever came out that Brittney wasn't biologically female, and the league knew the whole time, whew. We're talking lawsuits, congressional hearings, players suing for fairness, and fans completely checking out. This wouldn't just shake the league, it'd break it. Second, they'd have to erase history. Griner's got medals, championships, all-star titles, all of it. If her gender status ever got officially questioned, every win she's been part of would suddenly be up for debate. People would start asking to strip awards, recount records, and disqualify stats. That's not just messy, that's legacy ending. And that's why this next clip hits different when you look back. It's Brittney, right after her very first championship. Proud, emotional, the face of the league.
Your first WNBA championship, what will you remember most?
Just the fight and everything that we had to do to get this win. Definitely remember that eye and that tooth. It was all worth it to hold this trophy.
Thank you, Brittney. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now imagine the league having to pretend like that moment never happened. Like all those milestones don't count anymore. Yeah, not happening. Because third, and let's be real, this one's major. Brittney's not just another player. She's the player. The one who survived a Russian prison. The one the US literally traded for a whole arms dealer. Like, that's not just athlete behavior. That's international headline energy. She had the whole internet screaming "Free BG" like it was a movement. And when she got home, the WNBA treated it like a royal homecoming. Now this next part, it kinda says it all. Right after she was released, Brittney made it clear how deep it ran. Watch this.
While relieved to be back on U.S. soil and back on the basketball court as she resumes her position as center for the Phoenix Mercury, Griner is forever changed by the experience and says she won't put herself in such a vulnerable position again.
Well, I can say for me, I'm
never going overseas to play again unless I'm representing my country at the Olympics. You know, if I make that team, that would be the only time I would leave the U.S. soil, and that's just to represent the USA.
She didn't just bounce back, she came back with purpose, pride, and a whole army behind her. So yeah, when Riley Gaines throws shade, she's not just throwing it at a player, she's coming for the league's golden girl. And fourth, this one's gonna sting, because if any part of what Riley's saying ends up being true, then she just won the entire biological fairness war in one move. She's been screaming that line for years, saying trans women shouldn't compete in women's sports. And if Brittney turns out to be the smoking gun, that gives Riley's whole movement the W they've been chasing, which is exactly why the league is doing everything it can to shut her out. Now in this next clip, Riley lays it out herself. And whether you agree with her or not, you'll see why the league might be panicking.
My take is just about the least controversial take on the entire planet. It's described as an 80-20 issue. I think it's more drastic than that. I think it's a 90-10 issue, if not even more than that. 90% of Americans, of course, believing that men don't belong in women's sports, but for saying that out loud, publicly and unapologetically, you're really met with some of the most hostile and oftentimes violent encounters that you could possibly imagine.
So yeah, the second she took that message and aimed it at Griner, the WNBA didn't just ignore her, they iced her. And you gotta ask, if it was all fake news, why the full-on blackout? Now fifth, and don't sleep on this part, this isn't just about the WNBA, because guess who's tied to them at the hip? The NBA. Yup. Big Bro NBA co-brands the W, funds the W, and co-signs all their major campaigns. And through all this noise, they've said nothing, not a word, not even a "We Stand With Women" post, which makes people think, maybe they're not just staying out of it, maybe they're helping keep it buried. Cause if the W gets caught hiding something this big, the NBA doesn't walk away clean either. And sixth, this one hits their whole brand identity right in the chest. The WNBA has spent years building up this image of being the most inclusive, the most progressive, the most we stand with the community league in all of sports. Pro-LGBTQ+, pro-trans, front lines of every social movement. But if they've been hiding Brittney's actual gender this whole time, that doesn't just look shady, it blows the entire campaign to pieces. Now listen to this throwback snippet of former WNBA president Laurel Richie. She literally prides the league on being inclusive.
The WNBA has long embraced the LGBT community, both on the court and in the stands. But starting this week, it will become the first professional sports league to have a marketing campaign specifically targeting those fans.
And for us, it's really a celebration of diversity and inclusion and a recognition of an audience that has been with us very passionately.
If this cover-up theory ends up being real, that inclusive by design tagline is going to age like expired almond milk. And last, but not least, the lawsuits would come in hot. Because if Griner's gender was misrepresented on official paperwork, whether that's rosters, medical forms, or anything tied to international competition, that's not just a PR scandal. That's fraud. That's breach of contract. That's a federal level mess. We're talking investigations, lawsuits, canceled endorsements, the kind of fallout that could literally collapse the league. So yeah, if Riley's even half right, this isn't just a scandal. This is sports history rewriting itself in real time. So what even started all this mess? It all popped off during this regular WNBA game, Phoenix Mercury versus Indiana Fever. Caitlin Clark had just taken a hard foul, nothing too wild, just regular on-court tension. But Brittney, she was heated, like stomping off full attitude energy. And as she walked off, a courtside mic accidentally picked up what sounded like her yelling something wild. Now here's the clip Riley jumped on. Listen closely to the first few seconds.
For the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
Now the audio's fuzzy, sure, but Riley didn't waste a second before turning it into a headline. Sis was already on Twitter like it was breaking news, posting the video with the quote bolded, caps locked, and drenched in outrage. Just a reminder, this is who we traded for the Russian merchant of death. Now imagine if Clark had said the reverse. But it didn't stop there. That's when the internet said, bet, let's dig. And whoo, they did not disappoint. First up, Russian prison records. And yeah, this one had people clutching their phones. When Brittney got detained overseas, people assumed she was placed in a women's facility. But according to multiple sources, that's not what happened. Reports started circulating that Griner was actually held in a men's prison. And that one little detail sent conspiracy TikTok straight into overdrive. Here's a clip of Brittney herself talking about those prison conditions. Pay attention to how she describes the space and why it didn't fit.
Like in that particular jail?
The mattress had a huge blood stain on it, and they give you these thin 2 sheets, so you're basically laying on bars. From middle of my shin to my feet, stuck through the bars, which in prison, you don't really want to stick your leg and arm through bars, you know, because someone go up and grab it, break it, twist it, and that's what was going through my mind.
You were only allowed 1 roll of toilet paper that had to last you a month.
There was like 2-3 months where we didn't get anything.
And the toothpaste had expired, what, 15 years?
It was like 15 years ago. That toothpaste was expired. We used to put it on the black mold to kill the mold on the walls.
To break any Russian laws. I made an honest mistake, and I hope that in your ruling, that it doesn't end my life here.
And where you're heading to, it's called IK2?
IK2.
Known as one of the worst prisons in Russia.
Yeah.
What were the conditions like there?
Really cold. It's a work camp. You go there to work. There's no rest. So I'm picking up these big beams of fleece and cotton and silk. We put it on this machine and you roll it out 100 times, clamp it, cut it.
Now, obviously that doesn't confirm anything, but the vibe, yeah. People heard that and started side-eyeing everything. Because now the big question is, did the Russians already know something the US has been tiptoeing around? And if they did, why has nobody in the WNBA ever addressed that part? It's the silence for me. And then came the IG story. You already know which one. Brittany shirtless, walking around like it's nothing, no scars, no chest tape, no compression vest, just a flat, smooth chest, fully visible. And the post stayed up for 2 years. Not flagged, not blurred, not removed. Now hold up. Here's the clip everyone's been reposting, pausing, and zooming in on.
Swaggy, Brittany, let me see something real quick. Brick, thank you. Get the hell out of here, yo. Jab stepping, just a brick. Swing and a miss. Oh! Yo, I ain't.
Now let's be real. If anyone else posted that, AI would have flagged it in 10 seconds. But for Griner, silence. Because when you stack this with everything else, the Russian prison rumors, the media blackout, Riley getting iced out, it's all starting to look a little less like coincidence and a lot more like a carefully protected narrative. And the way she's been frozen out like she just leaked a federal indictment, it's not giving oops. It's giving, you weren't supposed to connect those dots. Now this next part, oh, it's about to ruffle some serious feathers and honestly, probably snatch a few front office wigs in the process. Because while the league was out here ghosting Riley like she ran off with the championship trophy, guess who they did suddenly make time for? Caitlin Clark's fans. Yup. Out of nowhere, the WNBA launched a whole internal probe because folks online were saying her fan base was being aggressive and making players feel unsafe. Not physical threats, not real incidents, just some spicy tweets. That's it. And suddenly, the league was like, let's open an investigation. Let's get statements. Let's protect our players. Meanwhile, Brittney Griner was literally caught on camera cussing out an opponent mid-game, and they couldn't even be bothered to tweet a weak apology. Not even a fake PR post. Just crickets. And Riley? She caught that in real time. Called it for exactly what it is, a double standard. Because let's be honest, if the roles were reversed and Caitlin Clark had said black girl in that same exact tone, sis would have been canceled before the buzzer even sounded. We'd be talking dropped endorsements, apology tour, interviews, and probably some awkward sit down with Gayle King by now. But when it's Brittany, suddenly nobody hears it. Suddenly the mic wasn't working. Now by this point, the league can ignore Riley all they want, but the internet is loud. And it's not just her voice anymore, it's everyone from TikTok commentators to Reddit detectives, and guys, they brought screenshots. So while the WNBA's out here playing mute and pretending like the mic clip never happened, the comment sections, oh, they're spiraling. One post that's going viral says, imagine pretending to be a woman so you could dominate the WNBA and still getting whipped by a white girl, LMAO. Like, not even subtle. And then you've got the other side calling Riley the problem. One user wrote, did anybody actually hear her say that? Or is Riley rage baiting again? So yeah, it's giving very much choose your fighter. But the wildest comment that had me clutching my water bottle said, was hilarious to me to see the logo mid-court and on coaches' shirts that say, pay some respect to women's sports all while a man is literally running across the logo. Like, not y'all treating the court like a runway for gender wars? Please. Now while people are arguing in the comments, Some of these Reddit threads have started connecting real dots. Alleged overseas fans are claiming Brittney was listed as non-disclosed on old international rosters. Others say there are multiple IG lives from back in the day where Brittney walked around shirtless with no compression gear, no scars, no blurs, nothing. And nobody's flagging it, not even the league itself. So naturally, people are calling it out for what it looks like, selective silence. And the longer they stay quiet, the messier this gets. Because no matter where you stand on the Riley versus Brittney debate, one thing's for sure. The WNBA is choosing silence over clarity. Because once it slips out, it's not just the W that's going down, it's the whole damn alphabet.